Hello world, my name is Marcus Jones and welcome to another episode of a PowerPoint About. And today's PowerPoint is about PostgreSQL. With all the files and functions that are stored on Ubuntu servers, being able to properly manage the system is very important for administrators. Knowing exactly where files are stored and what functions to perform will help save admins time and effort. In order to help remedy this, admins can use PostgreSQL or just Postgres. Postgres is a database management system for Linux distributions and can be used for the Ubuntu 18.04 server. Postgres is used to store data for Ubuntu systems using a client-server model, where the client makes a query or search to find a file that they are looking for in the Ubuntu database. Once the query is made from the client, it will reach out to the server and retrieve the file requested during the search. Postgres clients and servers do not have to be on the same host. If they are not, they'll communicate through TCP/IP connection. The process of actually executing a Postgres query seems fairly simple and straightforward from the outside looking in, but underneath the hood, there's a complicated process that makes the magic happen. Postgres queries begin with the parse step. When a query is sent to the parser to collect the proper query type and all the different pieces of the query in order to build a query tree or raw tree that will be sent to match the initial request. Once the query leaves the parser, it is sent to the analyze and rewrite stage. In this stage, the raw tree is analyzed and changes are made to clauses in the query based on if they match any transformation operations that are attempted. Any changes that will be made with the query are executed and stored on a target list, and the files are sent to be optimized, which will decide the fastest way to actually rewrite the files. Next, the query reaches the plan step of the process, in which a plan tree is created with information that execution process will need in order to actually execute the query. The plan tree uses plan nodes, which are different tasks that are used to execute the query. The plan nodes take input and pass it on to child nodes, moving the query through the execution step where the query will finally be executed. The first thing that an organization can do to encrypt Postgres is to make sure that they have properly set and defined access roles for the service. Making sure that only specific system administrators have access to Postgres, it will lessen the chance of the service falling into the wrong hands because there will be less people with access to the service. Another thing that admins can do to secure the service is to use client authentication control. Client authentication control will make sure that whenever a connection is attempted, it must meet parameters that are set or the connection will fail. By doing this, administrators can ensure that only connections that meet specific guidelines are allowed to the service. Finally, users can connect to Postgres using an SSL. Postgres comes equipped to be used with the Secure Socket Layer, or SSL, which will encrypt the data, making it more difficult for a hacker to see. An SSL certificate must be created and the service must be configured as it is not being used by default. Thank you so much for watching my PowerPoint. This was a PowerPoint about PostgreSQL. These are my references. Goodbye, world.